so I know you probably already have a course idea like floating around in your mind that you've been wanting to create, or maybe you have an online course, but it's just not really selling. And so I wanted to create this as your exact roadmap to how to hit your first $100,000 in online course sales. And this is coming from someone who I've had multiple courses make me over $100,000 at this point. One in particular was a mini course that made me over $250,000 in the course of just a few years. And so over the past several years of selling online courses, even just seeing how some of the things have shifted and changed and how the online course landscape has changed over the years, these are the things that are working right now to sell an online course really well, for it to basically like blow up, go viral, get a bunch of students inside of it. So that's what we're going to cover today. And we're going to break this down into like 5 steps here. So the first step is to create an online course that people actually want to buy. And a lot of this really comes back to having really great positioning, really great messaging, but also making it super clear like what they're buying into as far as like logistically what's in the course, what's the outcome that they're going to get, what can they expect, do they get instant access, do they get lifetime access during the time that they're buying, is there an incentive to buy, like is there a bonus or a discount or something along those lines, and really just making sure you have well-researched messaging. Okay, what I mean by that is you know what people are looking for, what they want in your niche, the language that they're using to describe it, and that your course is going to deliver on it, right? So ideally you're developing this messaging like from the very beginning, even before you create your online course. But if you already have one created, it's okay. You can go back, you can update it, you can refine it. And the reason I like to do this during the creation process is because then you know that you're actually marketing a course that can deliver on the things that you're going to be promising in your marketing. And so often I see courses that are marketed so well, but they fall a little bit flat on the back end, what is actually in the course. And people often feel like, wow, your marketing was so much better, or your free content was so much better than what was even in your course. And we don't want that, right? We want them to join your course and know that it's the most clear roadmap, the simplest, juiciest stuff that they can really dig in and really see a great transformation. And something that it might be a little bit of a hot take like in this industry for me, but I really believe that your course does need to be high value, but high value has very little to do with like how high quality your video content is. It has so much more to do with, do you have a great structure to your course that students are actually going to go through it and feel that transformation and know exactly what to do, and it's dispersed with like video lessons, AI, templates, downloads, tutorials, like really giving them a good breadth of different types of formats that they can actually consume and execute on the content with. And basically thinking like, how can you get your person from where they are right now to where they want to be as fast as possible? And that's going to make your course a really standout course and a really great course that people are actually going to want to buy. And so I do not care if your course was filmed in Loom. Like I really believe that has very little to do with the value that's inside of your course. Some of the best courses and programs I've been in were filmed on a webcam in Zoom, okay? And some of the courses that I personally did not learn much from, that I feel like was not a very good course, were more professionally filmed. And I really do feel like when you put this pressure on yourself that your course has to be filmed like in the same outfit on the same day, every single video lesson, and that it all has to be like put together and matching, I just don't think that matters. And I also feel like it puts all this pressure on you. Like if you want to update one lesson or something, you feel like you need to refilm so much of your course, when really, truly, you don't. If you want even more specifics on the type of online course that actually sells and a little bit more of a deep dive into this topic specifically, I actually have a free download. I'll put it right below in the description. That is all the things that go into like making a great course that I see selling really, really well nowadays. So go in the description, grab that for yourself if you're interested. I also have a free quiz that'll help you decide like whether or not you have a good idea and how to refine your idea. So I'll drop that in the description as well. Okay, step number 2 to hitting your first 100K in course sales. When I think about like what's going to get you to that goal faster, the best thing you can do is to leverage your warm audience. And the best way to leverage your warm audience is to host a really, really great launch to them. So if you're someone who has an online course that just isn't selling well and you never did a really great launch to begin with, I would recommend going back and almost like relaunching your course. Or if you have your course and you're launching it for the first time, let's launch it and make it like the biggest deal ever to your current audience. And the reason why we do this is, one, it helps to prove your offer. It helps to prove that you have an actually like great course, like your messaging's on point, it's attracting the right people, people are buying at the price point, and really just build hype and offer awareness for your course. So then when you go to put it on sale again later, or when you go to do other promotions for it, like people are already familiar with it who are in your warm audience. Your warm audience is your hottest leads, right? So they should be converting higher than probably any other rate. Really. Like they're the people who like they've been following along, they've been watching your content, they feel familiar with you, your brand, your face. And so if you can't convert your warm audience into your course with standard conversion rates, then there's something that needs to be reworked there, right? There's something that needs to be tweaked and changed a little bit when it comes to your course. And it doesn't mean you have to have a huge audience to launch to. It doesn't mean you have to have like thousands of people on your email list. I know when I first launched my first digital products, I don't think I even had an email list, and my launch did not go as well. And so it is great to get people onto your email list because it's really where your buyers are going to be. People who are actually hitting buy from you when it comes to courses, digital products are on your email list. I love YouTube marketing, love Instagram, but all roads point to my email list and getting people there, getting them off social media, getting them onto email. Like that is literally gold. And there's so many statistics out there of how many people are on your email list is going to translate to how much money you're making consistently every single month. And I found that to be so true in my own business. So how would you do a course launch? What are some things that go into this? There are a lot of things that can go into a course launch. There's a lot of ways to do it, but we won't have time to go into every single thing here. If you want me to do another video on that, we totally can. But the first thing I recommend starting with is, especially if you didn't have a lot of students enroll yet or never did this, is to do a beta testing program, okay? So maybe take your course offline for a little bit where people can't just go to your website and buy your online course, and post a beta testing program. And essentially the way I've done this, you can do it paid, you can do it free, but I've done mine free, and I usually will have 5 to 10 beta testers from my warm audience. I'll get a wide pool of different people at different points in their journey and different things that they're looking for help with as far as it relates to my online course. And so basically they're getting access in exchange for providing feedback, for providing testimonials. So it makes my course better, helps me to see any gaps. Specifically, there's one course that I launched that almost just didn't feel complete, but I released it to my beta testers anyway. And they gave me such amazing feedback. Like they loved the course, but there was a few things that were gaps that were missing. And I was able to go in, film some new lessons, update it before I launched it to my whole audience, and made it such a stronger course that way. And so it's really such a great way to get like genuine feedback right away so quickly. Usually my beta testing is like 2 to 3 weeks long max. And not only do you get that feedback, but the gold here is you get glowing, amazing testimonials typically. Obviously, like I don't require them to give me a positive review, but it is a part of the form that they can like fill out and give me a testimonial that I can use in my marketing. And as long as they're cool with that, like it is literally some of the best testimonials that I've gotten, because people are actually sitting down doing the work really quickly, and the feedback that I get in exchange is just incredible. So beta testing is something I will never skip with a new product, new online course, just to get that initial pool of feedback and testimonials. Because it's one thing for you to say like, buy my course is awesome, but it's another thing that someone who has genuinely gone through the course, so not like a client or not another customer from another product, but someone who has taken that exact course can speak to exactly what's inside. And for them to say like, this course is literally amazing, like I'm gonna be referencing it forever, here are the wins that I'm already experiencing, like that is truly absolutely incredible. And it's gonna speak volumes to people who are looking to buy. And especially nowadays, people have such a harder time with that trust, because a lot of us have bought into a lot of courses at this point, and I've realized like there's some really crappy courses out there. And so really making sure like you are not just saying like, hey, buy my course, I think it's great, but also having other people say that is literally like, you can't put a number on that. That is like so much gold. Okay, so kind of looping back now to the whole idea of launching, something that I do recommend, especially if your course is more than like $150, $200, is doing some sort of live event, especially if you've never launched a course before. This is a great way to really like get people into a virtual live room with you, for them to experience what it's like to interact with you, for them to see you on camera, for them to realize like, oh, you're a real person, like you're an actual human being that like I can connect with, right? And so my favorite ways to do this is, well, really my favorite way to do this is a webinar. And I have so much fun with them, guys. It's so fun, especially when so much what you do with a course is so virtual. It's so fun to almost like get in the room with your audience. And so I love hosting webinars. You can also do like a live challenge. I did that for my first course launch because the webinar felt a little intimidating, not gonna lie. And so for the first launch I did do a live challenge instead, where I pre-recorded videos and like dripped them out, and we had a live Facebook group as well. And then to back it up one step more, so you have that live event, typically that'll like kick off your launch, and then I'll send more emails to my, like even people who didn't register for the event, I'll promote the launch. The launch would be like giving an incentive, giving a bonus, something like that, like relaunching basically to your audience and making it a big deal for like a week typically. I usually do like Monday through Friday. And backing it up though, one more step, you want to have at least 4 to 6 weeks of priming. So that means that your content going out on social media and your content on your email list is really like almost like dropping little nuggets in their mind, getting them to think about whatever it is that you're going to be launching. So for example, when I went to launch my YouTube course for the very first time, I spent a good month and a half, like every single week, the email that was going to my email list was about YouTube and like what it's done for me, how YouTube works, how to know you're ready for YouTube, and really warming my audience up to like the right people start thinking about that and realizing like, oh yeah, like I already know I want to do YouTube, or I'm ready to do YouTube. And so I really do, especially for a course, like I really do love having that longer priming period of at least 4 to 6 weeks, especially if it's the first time you've launched or you don't have a lot of buyers yet who are already sold into your brand. You want to make sure that you are helping to like show up for them and lead with that value over and over again before you go to pitch to them. And it's going to feel so much more natural if you do that, instead of just like almost ghosting them and not really talking about it, and then all of a sudden say, hey, buy my course, right? It's gonna feel a lot more natural that way. So then from there, what you're really looking for is during your launch period, I usually will do Monday through Fridays. Like Monday, I'll open doors and typically give some sort of a launch week bonus. And that's something that like I don't really plan to like include with the course on a normal basis, or maybe it's an extra like $50 off the course, something like that. That's like a thank you to my warm audience for being the first to jump into the course. And I've seen this work so incredibly well. I'll do it like Monday, and then Friday night it will expire at midnight. Typically what I'm looking for here as far as conversion rates, and usually baseline, there's so many different conversion rates you can look for, but baseline, I'm looking for at least 3 to 5% of my hottest leads to convert into this course. So that means that if you have a smaller audience, or it's the first time you're launching your course, or it's more like your signature course, you know most of your audience is going to be like so the right buyer for, then you want at least 3 to 5% to convert. So say you have 1,000 people on your email list, that means you're looking for ideally 30 to 50 people are, wow, I just like was like, did I do the math right? But yes, I did the math right. 30 to 50 people are buying your course. Or maybe it's like you do a waitlist strategy, or you do that live webinar for your course. And maybe it's, you know, you're relaunching the course, maybe your brand is a little bit more expanded, where it's not like this is a topic within your niche that not everybody's going to be interested in. I'm looking more so for 3 to 5% at least of the people who registered for the webinar to convert. So if you have like let's say 200 people registered for your webinar, that would be like 6 to 10 from that list are actually like converting into sales. Okay, so to wrap up, number 2 there was basically execute a really, really fun, amazing launch to your warm audience. See at least typical conversion rates, and that gives you an idea of like, okay, this offer sells and it's converting, and now I can move forward and trying to sell it in other ways. So moving on to number 3 here, I wanted to touch on pricing when it comes to selling a course, because this is a question that honestly just like comes up so much, and it's something that I even still experiment with, still try new things with. And a lot of pricing, there's so many different opinions out there, right? There's so many different ways that you can do it, and there's not necessarily a right or wrong way. But here's just some guidelines, especially if it's your first time, or maybe to revisit like how you're pricing your course. some guidelines that have made so much sense for me, that have helped me sell my courses really well. So typically when we're talking about an online course, we're talking about something priced between $200 up to $2,000. Once you get past the $2,000 range, people typically expect more as far as like support, maybe a live community that comes with it, things like that. So what makes the difference here between a $200 course and a $2,000 course? There's a lot of different things, but it can be the breadth of the topic. Is it a full transformation of like literally how to book out your business? Or is it specifically on just how to do Instagram Reels to grow your business? Like there's a big difference between those two topics. It can be the positioning of your course. How are you positioning it? The audience that you're attracting. Are you attracting people who are very new in the world of like whatever it is that you do? Like they're very new to it. Or are they someone who is pretty savvy in it but kind of wants to go a step further? Maybe it's what's included, right? So the biggest thing that comes to mind with this is kind of like I was saying, is how much of you is included, how much support is included. And that matters a lot with your pricing, because you don't want to be selling a course for $200 and be giving weekly group coaching calls with it. That is not what you want to do whatsoever, especially like for eternity, and have no end in sight with that. And so you really want to make sure that it makes a lot of sense for the price point, as far as like how much of you and your time, especially when we're thinking about long term, and if you're going to scale your course, you're going to hit 100K in sales. That is a significant number of people for a $200 course. And if you're promising live coaching alongside that, let's just say it's not going to be easy as to scale, because your time is worth so much more than that. Another thing that comes to mind here when it comes to pricing is thinking about what is your pricing and your bonus stack. Or maybe a better way to say that would be, what's the discount and bonus stack that is going to really give some of that urgency? And I want to just be clear here. Urgency as far as 50% off or here's a free bonus is not everything. It's not the only reason people buy, but it does matter. And especially in the way that you're positioning it, especially in the way that you are sharing about it and being very clear about it when you are doing a live launch period, matters so much. And so when I say a stack, here's what I mean. I mean, number one, have a full price. You want a full price for your course that you are listing it for on your website, specifically if it's an evergreen course, which by the way, I do recommend doing that, and not having it open close cart. You want people to be able to buy it at any time. For example, that Reels mini course that I mentioned, it is $247. If you go to my website, if you were just to buy it full price, $247, okay? Then you want to have a launch week price or whatever promo you're doing, whether this is the first time you launch it or relaunch it, or if you have a sale on it, like you want to have, what is that price that is going on sale? And it could be 10% off, 20% off. I typically recommend at least 20 to 40% off, somewhere in that range typically works really, really well. I saved the like 50% off for Black Friday. It's the only time I usually discount things more. But 20 to 30% off is typically when I'm going to see really great conversions. Like to me, 10%, 15% just doesn't feel like a whole lot. And so that's really what I'm looking for here when I'm trying to do some sort of price point. So I have the Reels mini course on sale for $197 whenever I've done promos for it in the past. And so that's like a 20% off from $247. Next thing here that you can think about when you think about your pricing stack is, what are the incentives that you're gonna have throughout the launch? Like I've seen people do where it's $50 more off the first like 24 hours, or they have an additional bonus if you buy in the first 24 hours of your launch. Or maybe you have a special incentive or a bonus if someone buys live on the webinar. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this. I personally, when I've launched my Reels mini course in the past, that was one of the courses I primarily sold for a few years. And the way that I set this up is when I would have a launch for it, I would, in my webinar, if they bought there, they got the 20% off, plus they got a bonus product called Watch Me Film 20 Reels in 1 hour. So pretty juicy, pretty like, ooh, like how does she do that? I want to watch, right? And so they're getting that bonus though only if they get in during the webinar. And a key here too, like you have to be so clear about that and reiterate it over and over again, like live on your webinar, reiterate it in your emails over again, make it very clear on the sales page, have your full price striked out, have your sale price, have the bonus listed that you're going to get. Make it so clear. Like, people are lazy. Like, they don't want to have to like click around, try to figure out, wait, what's the discount again? Or how much am I getting off or whatever. I really like to lay it out so clearly. So usually what I would say, it's like, this bonus is only available for you in the webinar. I'm not going to offer this as a bonus during, like, when you see me put it on sale at any other time. My hottest leads are my webinar registrants, and that's really helped with sales for that. And so obviously you want to be very genuine, ethical about it. Genuinely, I did not include that bonus like during any other promos ever. Like, it was only during my webinars. So really just making sure that you are being transparent and making sure that it is genuinely like what you plan to do. But I found that to be so incredibly helpful, and also just like really great for making it so clear like why you should buy now versus later. Okay, the last thing I'll say about pricing here is don't neglect to look at upsells, downsells, order bumps. I do have another YouTube video about this, so I'll link that in the description, the show notes. You can go watch that afterward. That's gonna help describe a little bit more like my strategy, and I specifically also do that within Kajabi. That is what I use to set up my checkout pages. That's how I have my order bumps, upsells, downsells, and where I'm actually putting all of that in. So if you wanna try out Kajabi, I do have a 30-day free trial link as well. I'll put that in the description. Step number 4 here, how you're going to make your first 100K in course sales. This is something that I think a lot of people neglect. They're like, oh, I just gotta do like marketing, funnels, webinars, launches. And yes, those things are important. We're gonna talk about more funnels here in a second. But number 4 here is to actually deliver well on the content inside of your course. I personally have made it a mission, especially as someone who, I have so many free YouTube videos. I have so much free content on Instagram. I've sent so many free emails. I wanna make sure if someone says yes to buying from me, that my course content is better than any of my free content out there. It's more streamlined. It's my juiciest stuff. It's every detail that I can think of, where I am breaking it down as much as I possibly can and showing you exactly how it works. And I want to make sure that my paid students get my absolute best work, which is why I spend months creating my courses. They take me so long. And really just actually delivering on what I promised. And again, like I was mentioning earlier, there are so many courses that have great marketing, that do a great job getting you in, and you get in and you're kind of like, this is not what I expected. Or like, I learned more from their free content. That's not what we want people to think about. And by thinking about this when you make your course or when you revisit it and update it, like, this is gonna really help you to create those sales on repeat more than you think for this course, but also to increase your average customer value, for them to make repeat purchases and for them to become a repeat customer. And so the reason why is if this course is like amazing, they're blown away, they can't believe it, like they love it, they're gonna leave glowing testimonials. They're going to give you great feedback. They're gonna share about you to other people. And they're also gonna be an easier yes to buy other things. And that's just gonna create almost like a loop of creating more and more and more sales. The more happy customers you have, the better your course is, the more they're gonna buy other things, the more that it gave you testimonials. Those testimonials too, again, going back to you, testimonials are gold when you're selling your course. The more you have those testimonials, the more that you're going to make course sales, because you can share those in your marketing. Going back to that, if you haven't downloaded that freebie on like the type of course that actually sells, I have a little bit more in there on this like exact topic, but really just making sure that your course is actually delivering. Okay, so step number 5. Whew, man, this has been a long one. Step number 5 on how you're gonna blow up your course and get to that first $100,000. The next thing I think about, especially if you've had a really great launch, you've proven your offer, now it's just deciding, what do you want it to look like long term to sell your course? What's that marketing plan, that sales plan gonna look like for you? And that can look so different for different people. And really, it becomes your job then to create a funnel for your course that converts well, and then to fill your funnel at the top with as many leads as possible. There are so many ways to do that. There's so many ways to blow up the leads that you're getting. You can do Facebook ads. That's obviously what a lot of people jump into. You can do organic marketing like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. And then once you start having people like coming into your funnels, coming onto your email list because you're filling that top of funnel, then as they move down, there's more and more ways you can blow up this course, but also move them into other offers by doing upsells, downsells, order bumps, cross-selling. That means like once someone buys one offer, how are you selling them into another offer? Running live sales to your audience, because now you've got an email list. Run some live promos, do some live live webinars to them, right? Expanding your email funnels on the back end, or expanding the amount of low ticket products that you have where people can get a taste of you and how you can help them before they buy into your larger course. Going back to like top of funnel stuff, a lot of people think like immediately Facebook ads, organic marketing, but another thing that you can think about is how can you collaborate with people who have similar audiences. This could look like showing up in their community, whether it's a paid or free community. It could be looking like doing a collab on Instagram. It could be doing podcast interviews. Like, you don't have to have your own podcast. You can leverage being interviewed on other people's podcasts. That's how you blow it up. And what I recommend doing is picking one platform to go all in on at first. That's short form. So typically Instagram, TikTok, things like that. Then you're pointing people to your email list. People are getting on your email list when it's triggering those different funnels. So we've got email funnels, tripwires, webinars, things like that. And then from there, you can build out like, okay, now that you've got one system down, you've got like one good funnel for your course, you've got one good marketing platform for your course. Now you can start to expand. Do you want to build other funnels? Do you want to do some live promos? Do you want to do another platform, like add in a long form platform or add in some Facebook ads? That's where you get to experiment and try new things to create all these different pathways for people to come into your world to then trickle down into buying your paid offers, which is your course. Like my Reels mini course, I did have one funnel. It was an email funnel and a webinar funnel combined together. That made me over $100,000 in the course of a few years. Just like a very passive funnel. I took a webinar, put it on Evergreen, had a few emails that went with it. And I actually have a full breakdown of the emails that I sent and screenshots and a video walkthrough, like all of that. So it's the behind the scenes of my 6-figure Evergreen YouTube funnel. I'll put a link to that in the description as well if you're interested. If you're really like, okay, I want to see how the dots connect between people viewing my content and buying into my course, that really breaks it down. So that brought me over 100K. Though in that same time period, I made over $250,000 from that course. And the reason why I made more than just 100K wasn't because I had just one funnel, but also because I did a live webinar once a year. I had live promos I did a couple more times per year. I built out a few other products that people could get a taste of me and who I was at a very low rate. We're talking like $27 or less, and be like, wow, that was really good. And then they want to buy into my course. So really it's like thinking about how can you start with this one foundation of one short form platform, one funnel for your course, and then kind of build up from there as far as experimenting what you like doing, the cadence of live promos versus if you want to do evergreen funnels versus what platforms you enjoy. And then you get to blow it up from there and just experiment with different things. If you have any questions, if you're watching on YouTube, you can drop a comment below. You're also welcome to DM me on Instagram at Stephanie Lynn Case. And I will see you again next week's video episode on Tuesday at 8 a.m. Bye guys.